All right, we got another CEO thought process. Now, granted, we're riding around in a Kubota tractor here with Bentley. He's been sick for a couple of days, and now he's feeling better. But yeah, so he's gonna drive around the property, and it's just stuff going through my mind like crazy. Today's would be turn this off. Today's would be well, I mean, there's always a million things going through my head, but in particular, I'm thinking about a very close relationship of mine where they have their own shop, and they do really well there. They're very, I guess you'd say, custom in my world, but their product is very unique, and they can tailor to anyone. But they're looking. It's a husband and a wife. They do really well. They're looking at possibly hiring people, but of course they're nervous. They're scared, like everybody is, and so we kind of roll through some ideas. Realistically, what they do is very seasonal, even though they have a store, a brick and mortar store. And then, so how do you get a seasonal person? So you have people that are part-time, and then if they don't get their hours, they're typically a little bit fussy about that, even if there's some times that you don't need them as much. And then you have seasonal employees, which typically are high schoolers or college students that haven't quite found their career or whatever they're doing, or just want extra money. So when you do that, now you're looking at how do you get those students, or how do you get those people. So what they do is typically towards the agricultural plants type thing. But you go, all right, how do I get into a school? Okay, now I own a business. I'm a business owner. There's a lot of trades in the school systems now, and maybe what classes specifically lead towards you. So the ones that come to mind is home ec, possibly. Agricultural is probably the spot-on one. And then I'm not sure if there's a third one, but I haven't been in school in a little while, so I'm hearing this through the grapevine, I guess you'd say. So now, what do you do there? So you go to the school system. You try to find out who those teachers are, because ultimately teachers and professors are the ones that get you in the classroom. Obviously, administration and all of that stuff, they're excited to see you or hear from you, but it usually doesn't get past them very often, or if they tell a teacher to do something that's not mandatory or required by the state, it doesn't happen. So if you get the teacher or the professor excited at what you're doing, and that you potentially would be able to hire some people, or really you just want to bring even your product or your skill to the classroom that they already, for real world experiences. So now you've gotten a hold of teachers. You're doing these little, you'll come to school, and for 30 minutes during a class, maybe it rotates, maybe you do all the classes, maybe they set it up, but you get to talk to them about what you do, how you got there, how you handle it, how you got to business world, what your product does, things like that. So now you're going in here, you're talking to these kids, you really want it to be fun and uplifting and what you do, and you love what you do, and that way these kids start loving you. Not only do the kids start loving you, but at this point, or they're meeting you, how about that, but they think you're really what you do is awesome, and some of them get excited, some of them don't care, naturally. So now you're speaking to the kids who live in the area, who also have parents in the area, and to be honest, if it's flowers or anything like that, typically these little boys are trying to court these girls, you have prom, you have all these things that really lead to it, or they get married after school, so now they're learning you're the person in their area. All right, so the next step is, and from my experience, when you get into the schools, you start talking about what you do. So for instance, with me, not only was it a construction background, but I went to get my associate's degrees and got my mechanical engineering and engineering graphics and architectural certificates and everything that you need. I thought I wanted to be an engineer, but the reality is now I have a construction background, and I can do all the things that are pre-construction. So drawing, architect, design, software, homeowners, all I need to have that. So it really stepped me into both worlds. And the schools do offer 3D design and CAD classes, as well as general construction classes. So it really helped me get there. That's what the schools want their students to see, is successful people that do this. So on that note, now you have students that are meeting you occasionally, what I found out next was the professors actually, or the teachers, whichever, started setting up mock interviews because they want these students to be ready to get an interview with a company that does what they're looking at doing. So not only did it benefit the classroom that you could do mock interviews with these students, it benefited me. I was somewhat new at hiring people. So, I didn't even know how to really do interviews. I've been through interviews, but how do you do them? How are you the CEO in charge? How are you the owner? How are you the whatever is doing the interview to be able to practice that? And it gave me good practice. It gave the students practice. And to be completely honest, even though there were mock interviews and nobody had any intentions of getting a job, 2 or 3 of them actually reached out. And I actually, in the interview, said, hey, I'd love for you to reach out to me after school or after you graduate or whenever to see if you want to work here, even if it's part-time while you go to college. Because I was probably the only construction fielded person that was paying my guys to work and go to college. So for a while, several of my guys were actually night shift, and that doesn't really happen in construction. Maybe commercial, and that's big bucks, but no, not in general construction. I got regular calls from neighbors or homeowners or people saying that my house was being robbed, and I'm glad they called me, but it was really my night shift workers coming from college, going out, installing HVAC ducts, doing all types of things, framing, ditch work, grading. So they were doing it in the dark, and they had their lights. Now, they were just as happy to do that because they were getting through college and getting paid. So I probably went off on a tangent. So anyways, so that's your next step, is you're doing these mock interviews. The reality is now you have the opportunity for these students to come work with you seasonally, whether it's while they're in school, whether it's only summers, whether it's only Valentine's Day, whether it's only, Christmas, all these holidays that you actually need 10 employees, even though you don't need but 2 the rest of the year, right? Until you get big enough to prep and stock and you're selling other material. So I love that these little steps lead the way. Now you have students that want to come work for you, so everybody, they know, and let's just be real, high school and college students, somebody's going to come by and see them. So you're just spreading that way. And you have people that if you really don't have any work for 2 days, they're not mad. Most of them are ecstatic to go home early or go hang out with their friends. So you're not having that dilemma, because trust me, even part-timers, heaven forbid you don't have any work for a day, and they're not allowed sitting around. So either you're mad because they're sitting around, or they're mad because you're sending them home. I mean, it's just a never-ending battle. So I love this. To say, how do I get the right type of worker, and how do I do? There are tons of programs, and they are excellent, and most probably in my field of construction. But for a lot of companies, it doesn't benefit you to be small and try to hire somebody that's getting a job that can't manage their life. That's what they're doing, is trying to train them. So it's amazing that they do that, but it doesn't help you as a very small company to have someone that may not be actually interested in what you do. They're just looking for work, right? But anyways, this kind of thing goes through my head. Or really from there, just while I'm talking, you can go through, why do you do parades, right? You flood the market with your name so that everybody knows your name. It doesn't matter if you get the business. You just want people to say that you're amazing at what you do because they remember your name, right? I mean, it's crazy how the psychology of everything works, but that's what we all do. I literally get excited when I see companies that I've seen amazing commercials about. I mean, goodness gracious, Chick-fil-A, amazing. They don't even do it anymore, but the cows eat more beef. They're wrestling in the streets. They're doing all types of cool things. Eat more chicken. So that's the kind of stuff we all milk. I'll remember. Yo quiero Taco Bell, right? The little Taco Bell dog. So you're trying their attention. It doesn't mean that they all come to you. They just, when they see you, they think of happiness, right? So that's where the parades and the scavenger hunt and all the amazing stuff that you do, it really is helping the community. And why else would you do it if you didn't want to put money back in your community? Or joy, or whatever side of that you want to look at. But the ultimate advertising, which is right, you get to write it off, is literally being able to get people's attention to your name. Bentley, I think we're going to run out of gas, buddy. Yeah, we're going to run out of gas. Bentley's driving. Yeah. So anyways, one of the many topics that goes through my brain. Maybe you'll enjoy it, maybe you won't. But until next time, CEO Adventures turns into CEO Brain Mindset Conversations, whatever you want to say.
Have a great one.